As a young man, when watching the series Boondocks, it will always make me wonder if what was depicted blurred the lines between what is real and what is fake. Did it speak some amounts of truth in what I saw as entertainment? And as I grew older, I got the opportunity to think for myself, why is satire so appealing? In this video, I'll be delving deeper into a little bit of its history and how it has transcended as an art throughout the years. The word satire comes from the Latin word satur. The Oxford definition of satire is the use of irony, exaggeration or ridicule to expose and criticize people's stupidity or vices, particularly in the context of contemporary politics and other topical issues. Now that you've understood that, let us delve deeper into what is satire in comedy. In ancient Greek, there was a famous poet called Aristophanes from Athens who did old Attic comedy. He wrote 40 plays, of which 11 have survived to date. Some of his work include The Clouds, The Wasps, and The Women of the Thermosphere Festival. He was feared and acknowledged by influential contemporaries, and even Plato criticized his play, The Clouds, a slander that contributed to the trial and subsequent condemning death of Socrates. Another notable work of his was, I quote, slander against the Athenians police. Though material is now lost, it comes to show the power of satire in the arts. The poetic forms in which he used in this context included iambic dialogue, tetrameter verse, and lyric. Now that we have had a slight historical understanding of where satire might have begun, inspiring many contemporaries in the modern age, let's talk about the appeal of satire to us currently and in the comedy world in general.
I am the stone that the builder refused. I am the visual, the inspiration.
The series opens with the Freeman settling in the fictional, peaceful, and mostly white suburb of Woodcrest, and the characters we get to see in this show are Huey Freeman, who was voiced by the legendary Regina Hall, a nonchalant 10-year-old kid with the best afro a kid could get. He is a highly skilled kung fu fighter. He is wise beyond his years and very knowledgeable about various subjects, for example, arguing that Jesus Christ was black and that the portrayal of white Jesus was a narrative that the colonial masters erased in the history books to prove their notion that white ruled.
Jesus was black, Ronald Reagan was the devil, and the government is lying about 9/11.
He is heavily influenced by the theories of various left-wing social movements and social justice leaders. He promotes various social causes. He is openly contemptuous of gangster rap or other hip-hop as portrayed in mainstream media for glamorizing wasteful extravagance, self-defeating lifestyles, and ignorance.
Hurts, Jasmine. The world is a hard and lonely place, and nobody gets anything for free. And you want to know what else? One day, you and everyone you know is gonna die. Yeah, my name is Riley, son. But you know,
Riley Freeman is this polar opposite of his brother. He's very enthusiastic and a follower and fanatic of gangster rap and street culture. Though he is otherwise charming, clever, and artistically gifted, Riley maintains loyalty to gangster rap ideals, even in the face of their self-destructive consequences. He is easily swayed with the flashiness of the pop culture trends that are new wave in that moment.
Boy, what the hell are you wearing? Is that a bra?
What? It's just a white beater.
Where your pants? Where you wearing a skirt?
No, Granddad. These are gangsta-licious shorts for thugs. See, they got an extra flap with a pocket, so you hide what you want to hide from the police. Kinda hot, right?
He is more of a relatable character because we most, if not all, have been influenced by be it good or bad trends. Looking up to rapper celebrities as our role models, we are easily swayed by public opinion.
Hey, you think we in trouble?
You shot his grandson out the window. What you think?
Oh well, I shot it.
Robert Jebediah Freeman, aka Grandad, the ladies' man, the legal guardians of his two bonehead grandsons. He was voiced by the late John Witherspoon. There's nothing really much to him as the show centers much of its attention to Riley and Huey, but he is this breath of fresh air that just gives the show a more indicative and smooth nuance, if that makes sense.
That's what I'm talking about right there! We don't use the N-word in this house.
Granddad, you said the word 46 times yesterday. I counted.
Hush.
The Boondocks gives commentary on American politics from a black left-wing perspective. The series accomplishes this by using satire and controversial statements, such as the opening lines of the series, "Jesus was black, Ronald Reagan was the enemy, and the government is lying about 9/11. The show has also given input on subjects: the American government's response to Hurricane Katrina, the Iraq War, and other controversial political events that took place throughout the 2000s.
Dr. King, okay, you're an advocate of nonviolence, but guess what? How do you think the United States should respond to the terror attacks of 9/11?
Well, as a Christian, we are taught that you should love thy enemy, and if attacked, you should turn the other cheek. What?
America was outraged.
When asked about the show and the approaches taken that made it so controversial, series creator Aaron Makuda said, "I just hope to expand the dialogue and hope the show will challenge people to think about things they wouldn't normally think about, or think about it in a very different way. And for sure, these conversations have been had in all platforms that we can access, from Joe Rogan to your favorite conspiracy YouTube channel."
The strip is essentially a racial, social, political satire. It's about a handful of African American kids who are transplanted to the all-white suburbs, and they have to deal with their surroundings and deal with each other, and it plays out as an exploration of the American racial dynamic, both interracial and intraracial. And you have these different age groups, these different political philosophies of the characters and different perspectives all sort of clashing and bumping into each other.
Writer Terence Latimer asserts that many of the characters in the Boondocks can be seen as caricatures and personifications of recurring identities and ideologies in the Black American community. Riley Freeman personifies Black pop culture. Huey Freeman represents Black counterculture. Jasmine Dubois is representative of biracialism and loss of innocence in the Black American community. Uncle Ruckus is a caricature of internalized racism, and Granddad Freeman represents the older disciplinarian generation struggling to adjust in a new era. In his essay for the Culture Crypt, Smith echoed Latimer's statements but focused on brothers Huey and Riley Freeman for much of his analysis, arguing that through them the series is able to achieve much of the satire and critiques of the Black American community. Smith also notes the importance of secondary characters such as Sarah Dubois, who through her liking to humanizers and caricatures such as Asha, Pretty Boy Fleazy, and a stinkmeaner possessed Tom Dubois. It serves to show how society fetishizes and reduces Black men to their most minimalistic and negative qualities to appease others, he said. I also found this interesting post from Reddit that tries to bring light of what the show is about and give us more understanding, and also point to note, I'm not trying to force any ideology down someone's or anyone's throat. This is a subject that you can choose to interpret it the way you want. So please be more of an open-minded person, and if you don't agree with anything, please do put it in the comments. I'm also a very open-minded person. This Reddit post is called "The Philosophy of the Boondocks." Is very different from the shows that talk about the same subject matters. It reads, "The show is about love as much as it is about cynicism. It doesn't boil every special problem down to ignoring race like other shows would either. It explores race and beyond. It's about class. The show criticizes both Black and white people, but there is a constant philosophy portrayed in all of them. No matter how irrational and stupid or even evil like Ruckus a character is, there's always an endearing element that makes you care about or root for them. The show portrays the tragedy of ignorance. Riley, Granddad, as many times as they're wrong and doing things for the wrong reasons, you still love them. The theme of the show is about social conditioning. Any other show will portray class as color and nothing more. Boondocks shows that people are victims of becoming what society tells them to be, and that Black people end up getting the worst of it. There's only one type of character that is shown to be evil to an unredeemable extent. It's always the one pulling the strings. That's the running theme. Those are the characters you are never supposed to like. The ones who exploit the worst in people and control them for profit, and Huey is the only one who ever sees it. That's why he tolerates the stupidity of others and loves his family. And even if it's in a passive-aggressive manner most of the time, it probably reflects how the creator feels, powerless to how the ones he loves are controlled in society. Huey is very Christ-like in that way. He never outright hates people. He turns the other cheek and knows what drives the irrationality in others. And this sparks a healthy interaction in the replies. And I'm gonna cite two examples from an opposer and a proposer narrative. And the opposer said, "I'd say the show is from the lineage of Malcolm X instead of the popular trivialized MLK line of thinking, which the very first episode pays homage to. Just this one episode shows many instances of Americans, both black and white. Race is a fake fictional construct to cover social class, and its ramifications are real and fictional constructs. I always had the upwardly mobile blacks love to leave the hood that raised them the first thing when they get money, and Robert actually represents this group of people really well. It shows that once you pass a certain social class, no matter the color of your skin, everyone acts the same way." And the opposer saying that, "Take Huey's speech at R. Kelly trial. It encapsulates more what the show is about. He doesn't talk about class, he talks about having a standard as individuals. Take the MLK speech. It's exactly the same. He doesn't talk of class or any economic issue. He talks about what you choose to be." I will say that's the genius of the Boondocks, because it sees it isn't about class either. It's about having pride, as Huey says. Social conditioning isn't totally untrue, but it makes it sound as if it's engineered. And there are victimizers and victims. And while the BT jokes are always funny, the message is that the people should start being responsible. And that's pretty recurring. And to be honest, from reading this Reddit reply, this Reddit post, you have to be honest that they have bits of truth in them. And with that said, I have seen many articles and one conducted by a certain university which is 260 pages in length, trying to break down this show in literature format, showing the uniqueness and cleverness and the rawness of the art material that tries to show a much bigger issue in society. I mean, is it perfect? Obviously not, but that's the good part about art forms like this. You get to form an opinion about so and so. According to the LA Times, it reads, "Ironic or insulting," and it quotes, "I was," she says, "trying to find some political or social value or even humor and couldn't." Makruda maintains that the Boondocks is meant to get people thinking about race in a constructive way. He says it's never meant to demean. In another article by the heading "What the Boondocks Didn't Understand About Blackness in the 2000s," it does not necessarily bash the show, but rather tries to give us a more different approach from what we've heard from previous beat Reddit posts and articles. It says that it may feel unfair to judge the Boondocks show that premiered nearly 20 years ago. The fact that Makruda was able to get an uncompromising black show as seen on TV at all is very commendable, and many of its best episodes still hold up today. But even the most fearless satirists have blind spots. The edges of us can sometimes slip and tumble while staring into the abyss. The Boondocks' relationship with blackness has always been complicated, but it's worth considering how it sometimes uses humor to point accusatory fingers in the wrong direction. Well, what can I say? The opinions are mixed with judgments coming from everywhere, but the truth remains there. And truly there is some truth from the satire, and it is for us individuals to look internally and root out the problems. We might point the finger at the leader who is greedy and corrupt, but you, the person, does the same but in a more secretive manner. For example, lying to get into situations, buying more land that you can ever use, teaching our kids that this type of people are not part of this culture, segregating even amongst ourselves. The notion of it is time for or to change should no longer be used as a fallacy, but that we must put into action to better the next generations.
I mean, if you talk about gangster concepts, does that create controversy?
Yeah, that whole thing, you know, Riley was really constructed to be a satire on contemporary black popular culture and contemporary hip-hop music and the glorification of crime and what have you. And people sort of take it on the surface level that I'm sort of implying that all black people are criminals. I mean, the whole point is with that character is that he's very, very young, you know, maybe like 7 or 8. And, you know, he's sort of obviously going out of his way to be a thug and to look menacing and all of this. And he's not. And that is where the humor lies. Only people, I think, are only looking at it on the very surface level.
takes place in a world where superheroes known as soups are real but are controlled by a powerful and corrupt corporation called Vought International. While they appear heroic to the public, many are reckless, abusive, or outright evil behind the scenes. And that is the first theme we'll be looking at: corporate control. In a world where everything seems to benefit a higher up, accumulating billions at the expense of people's health, cause chaos in the rich mineral third world countries all to try and control that wealth. Vought International is a perfect embodiment of greedy evil corporations. Originally founded as Vought American by Nazi scientist Frederick Vought, the company evolved into a dominant force in pharmaceuticals, defense, and entertainment. Its most notorious creation is Compound V, a substance that grants superhuman abilities, enabling Vought to manufacture and control superheroes or soups for profit and influence. Vought's flagship superhero team, the Seven, is portrayed to the public as noble protectors, but is, in reality, carefully curated group used to boost Vought's brand and stock value. The company manages every aspect of the image, from orchestrated crime-fighting events to merchandise and media appearances. Beyond superheroes, Vought's reach extends into various industries, including film and television through Vought Studios, comic books via Vought Comics, news media with the Vought News Network, and even theme parks like Voughtland. These ventures serve to reinforce the company's dominance and shape public perception. Internally, Vought employs specialized divisions such as Vought Special Services, responsible for concealing the collateral damage caused by soups, and Vought Security, a private military force conducting covert operations to protect the company's interests. It's a mirror held up to our real world, reflecting the industries that shape our culture, our politics, and our perceptions of truth. Vought's grip on entertainment mirrors Disney's dominance in our reality. Just like Disney controls the biggest franchises in pop culture like Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, Vought controls superhero narratives. They produce blockbuster films starring the Seven, releasing them on their own streaming platform, Vought Plus, and flood the market with merchandise, spin-offs, and press tours. The parody of what happens when entertainment stops being about storytelling and becomes a vehicle for brand control and profit maximization. In The Boys, superheroes aren't heroes, they are intellectual property, just like how Disney treats its characters these days. Furthermore, Vought doesn't care about saving lives, they care about optics, profits, and market research. Characters like Homelander and Queen Maeve aren't judged by their morality, they're judged by their public approval ratings. It's a biting satire of how corporations prioritize image over impact. Just like real-world companies that bend their values to whatever sells, Vought rewrites history, spins scandals, and repackages tragedy as brand content. In that sense, it's not just a parody of Disney, but of every mega corporation that sells us ideals while hiding a much darker reality. One of Vought's major goals is to integrate superheroes into the US military. They push this through lobbying, media manipulation, and fear tactics. This is a pointed critique of real-world military-industrial complex, where companies like Lockheed Martin and Raytheon profit off global conflict. Through Vought News Network, a clear nod to channels like Fox News, the company shapes public opinion. It manufactures outrage, buries dissent, and pumps out propaganda under the guise of patriotism. In The Boys, the truth is irrelevant if it doesn't align with the brand. The soups aren't just heroes, they're celebrities, and every action they take is filtered through PR consultants, social media managers, and brand teams. Even their apologies are scripted, even their tragedies are monetized. This is a reflection of influencer and celebrity culture today, where public figures are curated and they are not authentic, where image replaces substance and virtue is just another product to sell. Perhaps the most damning parallel lies in Compound V. The drug that creates superheroes is sold as a myth that soups are born, not made. It's a carefully maintained lie, used to justify fame, superiority, and corporate dominance. This storyline parallels real-world pharmaceutical industries where drugs are rushed, covered up, and pushed despite knowing the consequences. It echoes scandals like the opioid epidemics where profits were placed far above people's lives. And further down my research, I found something far more interesting than Disney in some way, a company called BlackRock, a fund company founded in New York City in 1988 with $7.4 trillion in assets under management, making it the largest asset manager in the world. Furthermore, this company has its hands in every company that you may think of. For context, according to 2022 data, the GDP of Japan was $4.9 trillion, Germany standing at $4.1 trillion, and BlackRock stood at a whopping $10 trillion in assets. Now imagine the third world countries. They don't even come close, right? Showing how much power and control they have. Further continuing in this rabbit hole, I found the biggest US banks by asset size, and BlackRock is either the top stakeholder or one of the largest shareholders. More so, I came across this website that shows the holdings of the said company. They either have majority or minority stakeholding in over 4,000 companies. Microsoft, Tesla, Disney, Netflix are just a few of the notable ones in a pool of many. And it does not necessarily have to be a company. It might be the countries we live in, especially the superworld countries, who play a big part in the world economics and politics. And when an inferior country plays against their rules, their leaders in that uprising are exterminated. Countries like the DRC, Mozambique, Burkina Faso, and many more have been subject to this. Now it is up to you to come up with a definitive conclusion with the information provided. Am I spewing a bunch of nonsense or fact?
It was actually my mom who dragged me along to my first Little League practice, and
First of all, my applause goes to the writers of the series in how they explore the heroes and villains. They're not vanilla. We get to see how with great power comes distress, narcissism, depression, and confusion. In short, we get to see a different side of these superpowered beings like never before. One that embodies all of this is the Homelander, who in some way also represents the dark world of celebrities in Hollywood. A character brilliantly played by Anthony Starr, an emblem of what we all resonate deeply with. There's this article that perfectly describes the satire approach represented by the Homelander, saying that the cleverly named Homelander is the perfect metaphor for neoconservatism. In front of the cameras, he is resplendent in his American flag cape and brimming with platitudes about freedom and democracy, seasoned with occasional quotes from the Bible. Off camera, he is brutal, sadistic, arrogant, and utterly immoral. A bona fide sociopath. He dominates the Seven. This goes deeper than you think. Let us break down what this means in its entirety. The clever named Homelander. The Homelander evokes patriotism and nationalism. Homeland referring to America and Lander giving him an almost mythic heroic sound. He embodies the dualities of American iconography, appearing as a symbol of hope and heroism while acting as a force of oppression and deceit. This duality makes him a symbolic character in the literary sense, representing the often hypocritical nature of institutional power and the dangers of unchecked authority. Through Homelander, The Boys offers a critical examination of the intersection between celebrity culture, capitalism, and morality, providing rich material for analysis in terms of how power structures are maintained and challenged in society. Perfect metaphor for neoconservatism. Neoconservatism is a political ideology often associated with aggressive foreign policy, nationalism, and promoting American values like democracy and freedom abroad, sometimes through military force. The metaphor implies that neoconservatism publicly promotes high ideals but may hide darker, self-serving, or violent motives. In front of the cameras, Homelander performs as a public relations hero, patriotic, charming, quoting the Bible, speaking about freedom and democracy. This reflects how politicians or institutions may use patriotic and religious imagery to inspire loyalty or justify actions. Off camera, privately, Homelander is cruel, narcissistic, and morally bankrupt.
you fucking.
This shows the contrast between image and reality. While he talks about noble ideas, he acts in ways that contradict them completely. In classic superhero narratives, characters are moral paragons who use their powers for the greater good, upholding justice and protecting the innocent. He flips this expectation by using the facade of a superhero to conceal his true nature. This subversion not only adds depth to his character, but also serves as a critique of blind adulation towards authority figures, a prevalent theme in transgressive fiction.
I am done apologizing. I am done being persecuted for my strength. You people should be thanking Christ that I am who and what I am because you need me. You need me to save you. You do.
With that said, this is not what makes Homelander great. There's a deeper emotional evoke. An article by Neda Arya gives a thought-provoking argument. She states that his actions and motivations are imbued with moral ambiguity, making him a literary goldmine for character study. He is not purely evil. His character is shaped by a traumatic upbringing and the manipulations of those around him, including the corporation that created him. This background provides a fertile ground for exploring themes of nature versus nurture, free will, and the ethics peaks of power. Even though Homelander is basically a godlike superhero, what makes him so compelling is how real and how human he feels on the inside. He's not just a one-dimensional villain. He struggles with deep emotional issues like wanting love, control, and a sense of purpose. These inner conflicts, like his need to be admired or his fear of rejection, make him feel relatable even if his actions are extreme. This kind of emotional depth is what great stories often aim for. In literature, it's called psychological realism, showing how complex and messy people's minds can be. With Homelander, we're not just watching a bad guy cause destruction, we're invited to ask deeper questions like, who am I without love or approval? What happens when power replaces purpose? Can someone who was never shown compassion really understand morality? In conclusion, the show reflects real-life issues by exposing how society often idolizes powerful figures like celebrities, politicians, or in this case, superheroes, without really thinking about who they are behind the scenes. The series warns us about the dangers of unchecked authority. It challenges we, the viewers, to think critically. Don't just believe you're told. Even if someone looks like a hero, ask questions, demand honesty. Well, this question has tried to be answered by me. Netizens, Reddit posts, and blogs have all given interesting mixed takes on satire, especially the one example by Family Guy and South Park. This is what I found what you guys, the netizens, were saying about Family Guy using satire in its arts, and also obviously South Park. One said, never. It was based upon shock value, and that's what keeps its fans coming back. Why change a success formula? Very true. You go watching the show with mind of unexpectedness, like what's gonna happen today, you feel me? I mean, that is if you know how to take a joke and you find some ounce of truth in whatever they were saying. Another article says, Family Guy is satire. It mocks everything. If you don't like that and would rather watch no-nonsense social commentary, go watch any of the liberal late-night shows hosts to confirm your biases, or any of the existing social commentary shows for the same. In short, if Family Guy isn't your cup of tea, go drink coffee. There's really a mixed reaction, like on what the fans want to see and what not to see. Again, it's down to the creators to like mellow it down and just find like a commonality in which like every viewer can watch. But again, at the end of the day, like no matter what you put in the like for the world to see, there are still gonna be haters and people are gonna find fault in everything that you do. Should Family Guy abandon its content and start fresh to win back most of its former fans? Should the writers listen to their criticisms to heart? His answer was no. The people who produce content, be it music, writing, TV shows, movies, or games, do not work for the fans. They are not beholden to the fans' whims, nor should they ever give the appearance that they are. Their job is to make the best content that they think can and hopefully sell, so that they can go on eating. They can do that through audience polls or reading random tweets on what should have happened. They have to use their judgment, because at the end of the day, they're the ones actually putting in the work needed to make it happen, and they're the ones who will be living with the results long after the fans have moved on to something else. There's truth and some faultiness in this article, you feel me? Because at the end of the day, whatever you're making, obviously you make something that you're proud of, but you also have to listen to whoever is watching, because you are putting this art out for people out there, you know, to see, to enjoy. And when people are giving criticism and whatnot, obviously you have to hear. But at the end of the day, again, as you've said also, they're the ones putting in the effort. The ball is in everyone's court here, because the fans and the writers and whoever just makes the shows, because as I've said also earlier, it comes down to as a result of, you can't really make everyone happy, because you know at the end of the day, the branding of Family Guy has always been on whim, wit, and just out of their blown proportion commentary. There's none like it apart from South Park. There's this interesting article that said some very interesting stuff about the satirical approach of Family Guy. It says the effectiveness of Family Guy's satirical approach lies in its ability to provoke thought and spark. While opinions may vary on the appropriateness of certain jokes, their show undeniably challenges viewers to confront the complexities of modern life. In this way, Family Guy episodes of satire fulfill a crucial role in the cultural discourse, encouraging audiences to reflect on their own values and beliefs. By framing controversial issues in a comedic light, the show fosters a space for dialogue and reflection. This approach is not without its critique, as some argue that the human can sometimes perpetuate harmful stereotypes or trivialize serious matters. These are very thought-provoking article, and it's true. We have to have dialogues on certain topics and certain matters, and sometimes, bring a breath of fresh air is gonna be through comedy rather than in your face type of like content, and people just don't want to see, you feel me? And satire is a way of bringing societal politics into the table and just discuss. In some way enlightens us. Now enough rambling about these articles and whatnot. Let's see some examples of the show, and then we'll do a brief analysis of the materials from each of the example shows.
Hey, do you think Chris is old enough to be my friend?
Old enough? Yes. But I wouldn't bark down that alley. You'll frighten him. He thinks you're a transformer that broke halfway through.
I get that a lot, I understand.
Look, Mort was in trouble. We were just trying to help him out.
Well, insurance fraud is not the way to help somebody out.
Listen, Joe, insurance agencies are all scumbags. They deserve to get hurt.
You don't decide that. What you did is against the law.
It's easy for you, Joe. You don't know what it's like to be screwed over by an insurance company.
Oh, I don't, do I? Well, let me tell you a little story. It was hours after my accident. I was barely conscious on the operating table, but I'll never forget the phone call that changed my life.
Hello, I'm calling on behalf of your policyholder, Joe Swanson. He's badly injured his spine. Well, there's a new procedure that, if administered immediately, should restore his ability to walk. $200,000. We also have a wheelchair. $60. Okay. They're going with B.
As you've seen from the example, it tries to literally show the problem with insurance companies, policies, and how it gives the masses a headache. You all can tell me in the comments if I'm not spitting. Another from South Park can be seen with the Ozempic plague, and here's the video.
Keep saying you're going to the gym and doing Pilates, but then you aren't eating anything? Are you doing those new drugs everyone's doing?
Said the insurance won't pay for it because, they're kind of new drugs, and so the only people that can get them are people who can pay $1,200 a month, and the rest of us get this. What's this? It's a prescription for Lizzo. Rich people get Ozempic, poor people get body positivity.
It criticizes substance abuse, which has been indirectly glamorized by the public and celebrities. It is basically used to help diabetic people, and the fact that we humans always find our turn around to use anything for our own benefit is insane. Obviously, there is much more examples I could give you guys, and I do agree that they take it too far with some jokes in some episodes. It's like a bully who won't stop making fun of that flawed student. This is seen in a sort of parody from South Park about Eric Cartman and his buddies finding an Ethiopian. They ask the mom if they can keep him, and of course she tells them to keep him.
What the hell? Dude, that's not a digital sports watch. Hey, it looks like one of those Ethiopians. Oh man, they must have accidentally sent him instead of the sports watch. Maybe they took it literally when we said we wanted to adopt a kid. Whoa, that was cool. Yeah, how do you make those clicking sounds? What's your name, dude? Marvin. I think he said his name is Marvin. Yeah, Starvin' Marvin. Nice to meet you, Starvin' Marvin.
When I watched it, I was like, this is funny, but it still left, like, coming to think of it, like, right now, it left a very bitter taste in my mouth. Obviously, it was about trying to portray themes of homelessness, poverty, and migration of Africans in the US. Not necessarily in the US, but also, like, what is happening, the situations that is happening in Africa. Obviously, there's also homelessness in the US of A. And low-key, uneducated people try to perceive Africans.
On the surface, Smiling Friends looks like a fever dream stitched together by Red Bull and childhood trauma. It's crude, chaotic, and filled with characters that seem ripped straight from Newgrounds in 2008. And yet, it's one of the most emotionally honest shows on television. Behind the gross-out humor and surreal animation lies a surprisingly thoughtful message that helping someone smile just for a moment might be the only sane response to a meaningless world.
Hello?
Hey, Charlie, the owner of the famous Salty's restaurant was just brutally murdered, and I need you and Pim to figure out who did it. Thank you, bye.
If you're wondering what is Smiling Friends, it is an Adult Swim animated series created by Michael Cusack and Zach Hadel. The premise is simple. A tiny company helps people in emotional distress find happiness. Each episode follows Charlie and Pim, two very different personalities, on missions to help a rotating cast of oddballs. Whether it's a depressed man with a gun, a washed-up celebrity frog, or a demon from hell, their job is the same: make someone smile, or happy, or just change their negative mood to one of positivity. The show's brilliance is in the contrast. It pairs surreal visuals with grounded emotional truth. Take Desmond, the show's first client. He's idle, isolated, and holding a gun.
Oh, nothing. I was probably gonna use it to myself or something. Left me, my kids left me, my dog died from a broken heart last fall. So I don't know, yeah, probably just gonna end it all or something.
I know you don't know who I am, but my name is Pim. I know right now things seem bleak, but I promise to you that by the end of this beautiful day, you will have a big, gorgeous smile on that handsome face of yours. Oh, won't you give us a chance?
Okay.
Pim doesn't fix him, he just listens, walks with him, treats him like a person. It's not a cure, but it's a moment. And in a chaotic world, sometimes a moment is all you need.
Don't know what to think no more, man.
Okay, what's the de-escalate? No one's messing with your head.
Get out of me
Nobody's
head.
messing with your head.
Get out of me
Let's just
head,
put,
man.
no, nobody's
Get out of
messing with
me
your
head,
head, man.
man. Nobody's messing with
Charlie is cynical, Pim is cheerful. Together, they're a balance. Their dynamic reflects something real. How burnout and optimism can coexist. Even when they're tired or annoyed, they still show up. The act of helping becomes its own kind of therapy. In a world that doesn't make sense, making someone else's life a little better gives them and us purpose.
It is open.
Smiling Friends, are you the guy that called?
Yes, I called. It is I, Shrimp. That is my name.
Hey, Shrimp, what's going on, man?
Si, my girlfriend just broke up with me.
Everyone in Smiling Friends is dealing with something. Satans, or rather the devil, burn out from work. Mr. Frog is spiraling through addiction and cancel culture. And yet, the show doesn't ridicule them. It watches, it empathizes, and it offers strange, sometimes uncomfortable, but undeniably kind gestures of connection.
My girlfriend just broke up with me. I am heartbroken.
Oh, sorry to hear that, Shrimp.
Shrimpina meant everything to me. I only realise now she is gone. I never fully appreciated her.
Aww. Look, man, don't get too beat up about it. It happens all the time. We'll help you find a new girl.
Welcome to Scantopia. Please enjoy your stay. There is one table here, so please obey.
The show's chaotic art isn't just aesthetic, it reflects the instability of the modern mind. Characters glitch, perspectives shift, the world is loud and ugly and inconsistent. But through it all, the Smiling Friends are a constant. They are the one fixed point in a world that seems like it's falling apart. Smiling Friends doesn't say everything will be okay. It says things are hard, but if you can make someone laugh even briefly, that's meaningful. Charlie and Pim aren't heroes, they're just trying. And in that effort, in that tiny silver of hope, is something deeply human that we can all resonate with. In conclusion, this is not just a cartoon about weirdos. It's about what it means to care even when the world around you doesn't. About smiling, not because things are great, but because someone reminded you that you're still here. Maybe that's enough. One small smile at a time in a very big, very weird world.
I do hope that Shrimpina likes my cool new attire.
Look, I told you, man, you need to get over her, okay? There's plenty more fish in the sea.
How do I look, yellow man?
You look like you're about to tell your friend not to come to school tomorrow, man. But that's something a tan can't fix. Wow, look at that. You've got that iconic shrimp glow that everyone's talking about. Cooked shrimp. Dude, you just let that guy take a bite out of you. Why did you fight back?
I am too scared of confrontation.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you a lot for watching. If you've ever watched this, what has it taught you in your life, or will you give it a try after watching this video ASAP? Please do tell me in the comments. Please do like, comment, subscribe, and more stuff are coming, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Peace.